Welcome to a new episode of the People of Nature podcast. Today we have as our guest Kashif Farooq Bhat, a young conservationist from Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. Kashif is one of the best people to learn about the rich wildlife of Kashmir, especially the hangul, a critically endangered endemic animal found in the region. Kashif's family has played a pivotal role in protecting the Hangul by actively participating in its conservation for decades in and around the Dachigam National Park. Since a young age, Kashif has explored Kashmir's wildlife with his grandfather and father and now resolves to continue the work of wildlife conservation in the area. He is currently pursuing his Masters in Wildlife Sciences at Aligarh Muslim University and has submitted his thesis on the abundance and dietary spectrum of mesocarnivores in Dachigam National Park. He has also been selected as Sanctuary Nature Foundation's Mud on Boots project leader. He is working with the local communities living around the Dachigam National Park to consolidate their support for Hangul conservation. So, let us learn about this extremely rare species and other fascinating wildlife of Jammu and Kashmir and stories of a courageous and dedicated family of conservationists from Kashif on this episode today. Kashif, welcome to People of Nature podcast.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Most welcome. So let us start the conversation with the first question. So you come from a family that has dedicated themselves to conservation for decades. So please tell us
Mhm.
about your family's rich legacy of conservation and how that inspired you.
Yeah, actually, conservation run deep in my family. It was first my grandfather who served as
Mhm,
wildlife guard in the Department of
mhm,
Wildlife Protection, and for over 3 decades he served in Dachigam National Park guarding its wildlife. And
mhm,
his dedication and love for wildlife were not just the professional duties, and
mhm,
they were very deeply personal. So
mhm,
as a child, I would listen to all the stories that how he used to track hunters, how he
mhm,
encountered the Asiatic black bear, and how
mhm,
he used to learn forests, the birds, the wildlife in it. And
mhm,
my father, who is currently serving in the Department of Wildlife,
mhm,
and at the same time I used to listen to his stories as well, his passion for wildlife, which not only shaped my experience of
mhm,
understanding nature and wildlife, but also ignited in me that will to conserve Hangul, that will to conserve the
mhm,
beautiful biodiversity of Jammu and Kashmir. So growing up with this legacy gave me a strong sense
mhm,
to continue the work they started. And I am on it to conserve the beautiful wildlife. And
mhm.
I hope that the hangul does not vanish from our sight, and we continue to do the beautiful work for hangul.
Absolutely, that's really wonderful to know, and your grandparents and your parents must be really proud of you. So,
Yeah.
Kashif, so since you mentioned that your grandfather, father, they have all been working to conserve the hangul and the wildlife of Kashmir in the Dachigam National Park and around. So, like you must have actually heard from them about how the wildlife changed over the years, how the habitats changed. So, can you please tell us something about that?
Yeah, the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, has been changed right from the time when my grandfather was in service. It
Mm-hmm.
was in the early of 1980s,
Mm-hmm.
when what he used to say is that people from all around the world used to come, to Dachigam to see Hangul, to see its beautiful wildlife. At
Okay.
that time, the Hangul were very frequently seen. They were very abundant in Dachigam. The rivers were clean. The human interference was low.
Mm-hmm.
So this story
So
is,
that was around which time, like which decade around?
it was in 1980s.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
And right after then, everyone knows how militancy started in Jammu and Kashmir. There was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of political instability in Jammu
Mm-hmm.
and Kashmir. From that point of time, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, they were scared of going into the forests.
Mm-hmm.
This way, the condition of the national park changed. Not only this thing, but that time the urbanization was low. The urbanization grew up very fast.
Right.
We saw a drastic change in habitat fragmentation happened, habitat loss, habitat degradation. We saw various changes that
Mm-hmm.
put pressure on this fragile ecosystem. The Hangul
Right.
population that was very abundant that time saw a very saw
Mm-hmm.
the Hangul population dropped drastically during this time. So these were the challenges that uh, we faced during this time, and a lot of change happened, and we saw a very negative response
Mm-hmm.
from Dachigam National Park. What actually happened there?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's quite concerning to learn about how it has changed the situation for the wildlife of Kashmir in
Mhm.
Dachigam and around. So like so you also now want to continue to carry on the work that your family has done. So how are you
Yeah.
preparing yourself to conserve the wildlife of Kashmir, the Hangul? What are you studying, and how are you acquiring the different skills to protect the wildlife there?
Yeah, actually, earlier on, it was only my passion that
Mm-hmm.
that drew me to Dachigam
Mm-hmm.
National Park. But
Mm-hmm.
with time, I realized that the passion only is not sufficient to
Right.
serve Dachigam National Park. I needed scientific knowledge and practical
Mm-hmm.
skills. For the same reason, I pursued my master's in wildlife science, where I learned about ecology, animal behavior. I learned about
Mm-hmm.
conservation biology and habitat management. And over the
Mm-hmm.
time, I specialized in techniques like camera trappings, microhistology of scat analysis, GIS mapping, and other things which helped me to do more scientifically for Dachigam, for Hangul. I also immersed myself in community outreach, which is also a part of this my Mud on Boots project.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to bridge the gap between scientific efforts and local realities. In
Mm-hmm.
addition, I developed skills in data analysis, proposal writings, and project management to ensure that my work could attract the support it needed.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, I developed communication with local people so that I can bring them into conservation.
Mm-hmm.
I can put them into the field so that they themselves have that
Mm-hmm.
they feel that need to conserve the beautiful biodiversity of Kashmir.
Okay, wow, perfect. That's great to know that how you have acquired all these experiences now that you're totally ready to carry on the work of conservation. So I think so. Therefore, since you've seen Hangul since your childhood, and now you've studied about the Hangul and you've studied about conservation, so please tell us something about this, animal, which we hardly we hardly know about much, and but it is disappearing, and it's supposed to be so beautiful. So, what is the hangul in
Mm.
your eyes? Its ecology, behavior, and all.
Hangul, if we first look into its name, it's Han and Gul. If we divide its
Mhm.
name into two, it's Han and Gul. It's
Okay.
actually for in the name of the Indian horse chestnut. The
Okay.
Han means Indian horse chestnut, and Gul means the lover. If we combine it, it means the lover of Indian horse chestnut.
Wow.
So the
Okay.
Hangul is very much fond of Indian horse chestnut, and this Hangul, the male of the Hangul has antlers, a very
Mhm.
beautiful, like it has 8 to 10, point
Uh-huh.
antlers, and the
Okay.
Hanguls are herbivores. They feed on the mix of grasses, herbs, leaves, and bark.
Mm-hmm.
They are migratory. They do altitudinal migration. In the summer months, they prefer the high elevation of elevation rates of Dachigam National Park, and in winters they come down to the lower elevation because in the winter months the higher elevation of Dachigam National Parks are covered with snow, and
Mhm.
there's no food available at that time. So in the winter months they come down to the lower elevations
Mhm.
for in their mating behavior from September onwards. Their mating starts, and it's that time, that point of time when Hangul starts down. It starts to migrate down to the lower areas. They
Mhm.
are very shy and elusive species, and they are
Mhm.
very sensitive to the disturbance. And we have seen drastic, declining population of Hangul. Like there are around 250 individuals left in the uh,
Oh
wild. They are, I would say that they are crying for, attention. So to,
God.
you know,
Okay.
their
Mhm.
population remains stable in the wild.
Right. So the Hangul, so they're mainly found in the Dachigam or like or outside also in some other areas.
Actually, its historic range was up to Himachal Pradesh,
Okay.
but
Okay.
now there are a few fragmented populations. So there is no scientific, the scientific research on Hangul is very low at this point of time because the corridors have only been identified. There's no in-depth survey in those corridors. We do not know if the Hangul has the frequent movements along those corridors.
Mhm.
If Hangul population is fragmented or it's connected, so we need a very in-depth survey to know if what Hangul actually is.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. That's like like it's a species we hardly the way it's an animal we hardly know about, and thank you for just painting a picture of the hangul for us, and also talking about its threats. So like second question would be more about the threats. What are the threats to hangul conservation, and how does the local community there perceive this animal? What do they think about it?
Yeah, actually, there are some common challenges that Hangul
Hmm.
face. We see
Hmm.
these challenges not only in Dachigam, but we see almost everywhere, which is like habitat loss, the fragmentation due to urbanization, tourism
Uh-huh.
infrastructure, the encroachment of the most critical areas that needed more attention, the
Right.
overgrazing by the domestic livestock. So these
Okay.
all combine to, and make a major challenge for
Okay.
Hangul to survive in this difficult era.
So
And
when you're talking
moreover,
about
the
the habitat, sorry, I'm just cutting you once. So when you're talking about the habitat, so what kind of habitat like is the Hangul? Is it grassland or it's forest? Like,
yeah, yeah, actually, it prefers grasslands. It prefers mixed forests. Uh, inhabits in the vast kinds of habitat. But the main habitat for it is the grasslands and the mixed forests.
okay, okay, perfect,
Yeah.
got it. Yes, yes. So please
So
continue. What? Yeah.
yeah, so there has been a lot of challenges for a Hangul in this era.
Hmm.
So poaching is no less common now, but also it poses a risk to Hangul, although it's not that frequently seen now. But
What is it
it's a
poached
contributing
for?
factor.
Like poaching. What is it poached for?
It's poached for its antlers and meat.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is damaging the Hangul.
Mm-hmm.
And if we talk about the local community's perception on Hangul,
Hmm.
so I conducted a survey, and majority of the people, they believe that there should be enough, awareness to conserve the Hangul. They are ready to contribute. They are ready to, serve themselves to conserve this, beautiful species. They are ready if government or other NGOs conduct education programs, awareness programs, they are ready to be a part of it. They are ready to use their traditional knowledge to conserve Hangul. But the thing
Hmm.
is that the local NGOs, the national and international NGOs, the government needs to, get into touch
Hmm.
with those local communities and get their help also to protect the beautiful Hangul.
Okay, okay. That's good to know that the local communities are ready to work for the protection of the Hangul, but they need more support to do the
Uh,
same. That's
yeah.
wonderful. So, yeah, so coming to this only, so like, do you think that there is therefore enough attention given to the Hangul conservation, at different levels, local, national, global level? If not, why, and what can be done to change this perception of the Hangul or the attitude towards the Hangul by the global conservation community or the national conservation community?
Yeah, unfortunately, the Hangul does not receive that attention it requires. It does not receive that attention it deserves actually.
Mm-hmm.
Hangul. It is a separate red deer subspecies that is found in India. It's only found in Kashmir Himalayas throughout the world. So this point is enough to understand how important it is to give attention to the Hangul. Nationally and globally, conservation efforts I mean they prioritize the species like elephants, rhinos, those no tigers, those species that are
Yes, yes,
widely recognized. So,
yes,
and little less attention is given to those animals. So,
yes.
we are not against those,
Mm-hmm.
against giving importance to the species like tigers and elephants, but at the same time, we should also recognize those species that are craving for, that are crying for help. So,
Definitely.
I don't, yeah, and I don't see that these species are getting much attention at this point of
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And to change this, I think we must elevate Hangul's profile through media. We must do more research publications. We must, increase advocacy for Hangul, and we must
Hmm.
promote ecotourism that focus
Hmm.
Hangul. And I think these are those things, and education, campaigns for small young children,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
can be done through targeting the local schools that are around Dachigam National Park, the universities that are around Dachigam National Park. I think
Hmm.
we need to first locally we need to target the people to let them know what Hangul is, and at the same
Hmm.
time, at the national and international level, uh, we need to advocate for Hangul and
Hmm.
tell the world, tell the people how important it is to save the Hangul, the
Hmm.
a red deer species that is endemic to Kashmir Himalayas, and we need to let the
Hmm.
people know how important it is to conserve this species.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely important. Every species has an important role to play. It's not just, I would say, an ecological role, but I think species like the Hangul, they are symbolic of the culture of the people, the region, and they are endemic. So that speaks for itself. Like, it should be the pride of that place. And of course, India also as well, because the species is for this subspecies found only in India. So it's
Hmm.
pride should be a collective pride of the nation, and we should try to protect
Exactly.
it for sure.
Exactly.
Yes. So in just between when you talked about ecotourism, so how is the situation related to tourism there for the Hangul? Is a demand? Is there a demand among to see the Hangul in Dachigam, or what do the tourists who come there do they want to look, or how easy it is to see the Hangul also, in case people want to visit and just see the Hangul?
Of course, there is demand. There is a lot of
Yes.
demand. Those people who are associated and connected to wildlife, they want to come to Kashmir. They want to see Hangul. So
Okay.
I think it's the responsibility of the government to make
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
that path to not only for the tourists who come around the world or India, but for the local people who want to see
Yes.
Hangul. I think it's government's responsibility to make that path unless and until we see the Hangul, we see that animal uh, in the in natural form. We
Yes.
cannot know how important the species is unless and
Yes.
until we see it, we see its behavior, and then that will ignite that that will
Yes.
that it
Yes.
is how important it is to conserve this Hangul.
True, true, absolutely. I think I would say that like the photographers, the wildlife photographers should also go to Kashmir and go and photograph this animal. And we hardly see the hangul coming up in photographs, and that is another way to promote love for the animal. That's also very important. I hope that happens more.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so yes, yes. So now also you are a sanctuary mud on boots project leader. So can you tell
Hmm.
about your this role, and how are you working, to under this role to get the community involved of the conservation activities?
Yeah, now as a Modern Boots project leader, my first aim is to get connected to the local people
Hmm.
and bridge that gap between the local knowledge and the scientific knowledge, the scientific research. So
Hmm.
my plan includes to involve the local people uh,
Hmm.
into the conservation, and
Hmm.
also it involves the systematic monitoring of Hangul population, that is
Hmm.
use of camera traps and direct observations,
Hmm.
mapping their movements and identifying their critical habitats. So I
Hmm.
also focus on organizing awareness drives, for the local people, and I plan to work with the forest department, academic institutions, NGOs, local NGOs to design and implement that
Hmm.
conservation strategies. And
Hmm.
most importantly, I will document and share the finding to build a strong evidence base that supports target conservation action for the Hangul. I
Hmm.
want to bring in the local communities into this practice of
Hmm.
conservation, because I don't think it's possible to conserve Hangul without the local support. It's never possible because
Hmm.
Dachigam is wholly and solely surrounded by the people, and they are, more or less connected to forests, connected to wildlife. So it's very important to get those involved in wildlife. So as
Hmm.
a Sanctuary Asia's Modern Boots project leader, I
Hmm.
aim to get involve those people into the
Hmm.
conservation in surrounding areas of Dachingam National Park.
Right, right. So great to see you already have a proper vision of what you do want to do, or also you are doing a lot already. So that's great to know. And the of course the local communities, as you mentioned, is a key to conserving the species and other wildlife in the area. So as you are working there, and you've also seen your grandfather father work there in Dachigam. So as conservationists, as people working on the field on the ground, you must yourself face a lot of challenges to do the work. So just tell us, about like these challenges, and also, if you can just please tell us a couple of stories from your grandparents' time or something about their work in, uh, you know, in this park and about with its wildlife. Yeah.
Yeah, as I've already mentioned this point, that there is a lot of political instability in Kashmir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those challenges that hinder the conservation of wildlife in Jammu and Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
So also there is limited funding for Hangul.
Mm-hmm.
The research is also very limited on Hangul.
Mm-hmm.
So these are one of those important key
These
points
are
that
major challenges. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that come into the challenges. But despite these challenges, I remain hopeful that we together bring that get that strong grass, that network where the local people, the local children come and volunteer themselves for
Mm-hmm.
conservation Hangul. So
Mm-hmm.
during my grandfather's era, it wa- no the it was the Dachigam National Park was more pristine. It was as I already said, that Hangul was more you know
Mm-hmm.
uh, abundant. So
Yes.
and as far as the political instability is concerned now and then, the difference is that my grandfather said that when I was in service back in 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to go in the I used to go in the midnight. I used to go alone with carrying a
Your
stick in my
grandfather,
hand.
grandfather told this story to you.
Sorry.
I mean, this is what your grandfather said. Like he
Yeah,
was in
yeah. My
servicing in like.
my grandfather narrated it to me
Okay,
that he
okay,
used to
okay,
go
yes,
to
yes.
Dashigam
Hmm?
National Park. He used to go in the
Hmm?
midnight at 12, at 1.
Oh, wow.
He, he used to carry just a stick in his hand, and
Okay.
while going to Dashigam National Park, while giving his duty,
Huh.
he used to get a lot of Asiatic black bears on the way, and
Okay.
the Asiatic black bears used to roam around him. He just used to
Hmm.
carry a stick in his
Okay.
hand, and he used to beat that stick to scare
Okay.
those
Yeah.
Asiatic black bears away. I mean, this was the time when the wildlife was abundant in
Yes,
Dachigam
yes.
National Park.
Uh.
But
Right. Wow,
over
what
the
a time.
time,
Hmm.
the situation changed, and we saw a
Hmm.
lot of challenges in Dachigam National Park.
Hmm.
What we are currently seeing in there.
Hmm. Hmm. So other than the
So these,
hangul and the black bears, what are the like other species found there?
yeah, there are a lot of other mammalian species like the
Hmm.
Indian leopard. Among the mammalian
Okay.
species, the Indian leopard, the red fox, golden jackal, the yellow-throated marten,
Mm-hmm.
so the Himalayan weasel, the Himalayan marmot. These are among the mammalian species that are found in Dachigam National Park. Among the avian fauna, we have yellow-billed blue magpie. We have the
Mm-hmm.
Kashmir flycatcher. We have different species of kites. We have different we have
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of we have over 150 species of avian
Oh,
fauna found in Dachigam National Park.
amazing. Amazing.
So
And so, like, it's a place to explore on foot, or is like there are vehicular paths there to
no,
travel?
it's actually up to a certain point you can go by car, but the Dachigam National Park is a mountainous region, a rugged terrain area, so you need to go by foot trek mountains to
Okay.
explore Dachigam
Okay.
National Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, like, what's the best season to see the Hangul if people want to go there?
I think the best season to see both Dachigam and Hangul is the autumn season, when
Autumn.
it is
Mm-hmm.
the most colorful season
Oh,
of
wow.
you can see Dachigam National Park turns colorful. There are a lot of colors.
Mm-hmm.
Dachigam. If you go one day, you will see one Dachigam, and if you go another day,
Huh.
you will see another Dachigam. There is so mixture of colors in autumn. So I would prefer the best season to come to Dachigam is autumn, and at the same
Okay.
time, to sight the Hangul, from autumn till ending winter months, you can see Hangul in
Mm-hmm.
Dachigam National.
Okay, okay, amazing. I mean, already the way you describe the park and its species, I think people would love to go. So,
Hmm.
one final question, Kashif. So, as you're working with the younger generations as well, and so what message would you like to give out to the youngsters of Kashmir and also rest of India about why they should contribute to protecting the wildlife, including the Hangul?
Yeah, to the young people of Jammu and Kashmir, to youngsters of
Mm,
Jammu and Kashmir,
mm,
my
mm,
message to them is to please come forward and volunteer yourself in conservation, to volunteer
mm,
yourself in conservation programs. Whatever you
mm,
know about Hangul, whatever you know about Dachigam, whatever you know about not
mm.
only Hangul but different wildlife of Jammu and Kashmir, just
Mm,
spread that knowledge, spread that awareness among the
mm,
local people. You have
yes.
smartphones, you have social media now. You can uh, you know
Mm,
expand your network through this, so use that network and volunteer yourself in wildlife conservation. Learn about
mm,
wildlife, learn more about Hangul, learn more about biodiversity of Jammu and Kashmir. And
mm,
to 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 the people of India, my message is that please
mm,
read about Hangul. Please read about how important it is to conserve Hangul. Hangul is just
mm,
found in India. It's endemic to the Kashmir Himalayas. Please read about
mm.
it. You will understand how important it is to conserve Hangul.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. I think because of people like you, youth like you, who are actually there and conserving the species still exists. And I think this animal still exists, and the wildlife of Dachigam is there. And I think we definitely need, the entire India, we all need to take pride in these animals, and and
I think it's
think
a
about
collective
conserving the
responsibility.
Hangul as urgently as possible. It definitely needs urgent attention, yeah, from
Absolutely, yeah.
India, from rest of the world as well, I
Mhm.
think. Yes, thank you, Kashif, for explaining so beautifully about the wildlife of your place, and the great work that you're doing. It's really, I'm sure, it's going to inspire more youngsters across India to work for
I'm hopeful.
conservation in their area. Yes, I'm sure. So thank you so much for coming to this episode and speaking to us
Thank
and
you.
telling us about these species,
Thank
animals,
you. Thank you
these rare
so much.
species we hardly hear about. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Most welcome. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.